Welcome to a new video in my home automation series, and there are some new products again from Sonoff that I want to review quickly. And I know I'm a little bit late with these products because I think they were released on the 12th or the 6th of February. So about a week, maybe 2 weeks ago. So they are already available, so you can check them out. And basically what we see here is two different products, and they are both from the Orb series or the Fusion series. And these are actually smart and non-smart sockets. So the whole idea behind this is they are going to match the existing Fusion or Orb type of light switches. So we have a couple of versions of these now: single gang, dual gang, blind controller, dimmer controller, and now we have matching sockets. So now if you have a scenario where you want to place a light switch next to the socket, now you have the option to buy these sockets. So they are going to visually match the light switches that you already have or you are planning to buy. And the reason I have this S60 plug here, because I wanted to draw a comparison between this S60 light bulb and this Orb socket, because they are essentially the same when it comes to functionality. So they both have energy monitoring, you have the inching function, the power on function with a power on delay, all the graphs for the energy monitoring, and there are only three key differences. The first key difference is that this was a Wi-Fi version. There is a Zigbee version available as well. And this is Wi-Fi as well, but now this uses the new sort of Wi-Fi combined with a Matter functionality. So now you can use it as a Matter device and also as a Wi-Fi device. The energy monitoring also includes a cost calculation as well. So if you want to see cost instead of just kilowatt hours, you can do that as well. And the last difference is that this new unit also includes a charging monitoring function, which is basically, it's a very simple thing, but actually it could be quite useful. So if the power consumption on this plug drops below a certain value for a period of time, then it's just going to automatically switch off. So if you are planning to use this socket to control like a battery charger, like a lead acid battery charger. So once the battery charges up and the power consumption of the charger drops below a certain value, then it's just going to disconnect it. So it will stop the sort of like a trickle charge. Of course, this would be even useful for other type of battery chargers. And I think that's a nice feature. Not that you wouldn't be able to do this with a little bit of scenes on this unit, but now it is built in. And the reason I have two different sockets here, because you have the smart version of this socket, but you also get a dumb version. So again, if you want to combine sockets with your light switches, but you don't want to spend the extra money, or you just don't want that a particular socket to be smart, then you have a dumb version as well. So this is just like any other socket, but it has the same visual design as the rest of the Orb series. So I've already mentioned all the key facts, so let me quickly go through the design and sort of like the visual inspection of it. So I'm going to show you the non-smart version first. So you can see, I already said in the beginning that it uses the same design. So this raised circle in the middle, and then you have the Sonoff logo on the side. And then in terms of the construction is the same as the others. So you can pop out this middle section. Maybe I need to use the screwdriver. And then you have access to the bolt holes here. So that's how you can mount it on the wall. And the non-smart version obviously has the 3 connectors for live, neutral, and the earth. And that's pretty much it. Once it comes to the smart version, it is pretty much the same thing. So you have the 3 connections on the back, which is live, neutral, and earth. Well, I don't have the earth connected at the moment. I'm being a little bit lazy. And you have the QR code for the Matter pairing. But again, you can pop off this bezel and you have access to the 3 bolt holes in the back. Sorry, 4 bolt holes in the back for mounting. I would say this is a fairly big enclosure right in the back. So if you have those round wall sockets, and if you happen to have a lot of wires in it, maybe it's going to be a little bit difficult to just cram everything back into it. So keep that in mind. If you have the option to use a bigger socket, then maybe I would go for that. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention it right in the beginning, but this is also rated for 16 amps, just like the S60 socket. So I think that pretty much complies with most of the EU regulations, because we usually have 16 amp breakers for sockets, socket circuits. So that definitely supports that same 16 amps. So you can see the specs there. So I would definitely recommend for usual household stuff. It has the CE mark. It doesn't have any other certification that I noticed. So, you know, that's just something for those folks who are looking for certain like TÜV certifications. I didn't see it on this particular model. And after observing the back of the device, let me show you the front of it. So as you can see on the smart version, we have an additional button, and we also have an LED here, which is a little bit dim at the moment. And so now if the relay is energized, then this shows as red, and also if it goes into pairing mode, then that's the one which is going to blink. It's going to do the blue blinking pattern. So it gives you status and also the output state of the relay. And I really like this because it's a very subtle indication. It's not going to disturb you if you have in the bedroom, but it actually shows whether the device is the socket is on or off. And controlling this socket from the app is also very straightforward. You have the option to add the device or scan the QR code, which is on the back, and that's how the device is going to show up in the app. And if I click on it, I mean, I have the on-off button on the front, and if I click on it, I get into the details screen. And this is, I think the layout has also changed from the S60 plug. I think the S60 plug, the current consumption and everything was on the top. Here is on, was on the bottom. Here is on the top. And we have these new buttons here, under each other instead of having buttons on the bottom of the screen. So that's sort of like the new layout. But you have the button for the main on-off, so you can use this button to do that. And you can see that we have 233 volts at the moment. Oops, sorry, I click on that. It's drawing 0.07 amps. So I don't really have a data on what is the lowest consumption that it can measure, but I was definitely measuring. I think I was using it for a battery charger just to charge AA batteries. And once the battery is charged, then the charger was taking like 1 watt or 1.3 watts. And that was the lowest value that I have seen on the screen. But I'm connected a small fan to it, so it's drawing 11 watts at the moment. It also shows you the runtime and some cost calculation that you can configure. We're going to see it later, but let me cover the basic, schedule functions with a loop timer and a random timer that you can do. And also you can add countdowns, like to automatically turn off, and the inching option has been moved here on the main screen. So you can see that you can enable it, you can set the timer, inching on and off. So all the usual features that we got used to. Going into the electricity consumption thing, that screen is exactly the same as what we have seen before. So you can go back in certain number of days and it's going to show you the consumption. You can click on it. I think this was the day when I used it for a battery charger, which is obviously, I mean, it draws very little current and uses very little power, but you can see that it, in some hours, it got accumulated to 0.1 kilowatt hours. And that's what is shown on the graph. Obviously, this would be more meaningful if I would use it for a bigger consumer. And then you can switch between weeks, and then it shows the consumption for certain days. And if you do month, then obviously it's going to be weeks, and year, it's going to be months. So it's the usual thing. You have options to download in the top left, in the top right. And we have the option for the cost as well. And I mean, it's the same graph, but it shows values instead of kilowatt hours. And in the cost settings, you can set the unit. You can only select from a set number of currencies. And then you can set the electricity price, and you can just put any values. And if you don't select the currencies, it's just going to show you the value. So it basically times this with the kilowatt hours. And you can also add multiple of these prices. And if you have a different tariff based on the different days of the, different hours of the day. So let's say I have a cheaper tariff between, I don't know, 6 or 10, and then I can enter a price that maybe at 6 or 10 it is, so between 6 and 10 it's 60 instead of the base price which is 50. Oh, and now I clicked on add, so I have to create another one. So I'm not really sure. I haven't really figured out how you can delete it. So maybe you are getting a very cheap tariff between 9 and 11 o'clock. Well, interesting thing. I'm not really sure how you can delete it once you have set it. Oh, I realized you have to swipe left and then you can delete the extra prices. So again, you can define a base price and you can define a few time-dependent prices when you get either cheap electricity or more expensive electricity. And that's the only thing that you can do. Of course, if you have variable timing, that's not going to work. Or if you if your tariffs is based on any other thing, then again, it's not going to work. So that's the function that they built in. And if you don't set the price, then obviously it's just going to show you the cost as, you know, 1.5 something. But again, if I would set USD or Euro, it would just show the currency sign next to the value itself. So that's the electricity consumption and the monitoring. And now we can go into the settings. And again, we are not really going to see anything unusual here. So we have the manual, we have options to display as a different icon. We can enable, disable the automatic update. We can change the location. We can share the device. We can create groups. So if you have multiple of these smart sockets, you can group them together so they switch on, switch off at the same time. Probably it's less useful for sockets, more useful for switches. And then we got to the settings that are related to all the energy management functions. So we can create thresholds of maximum power, maximum voltage, or maximum current, and the device is going to automatically turn off if any of these values go above these thresholds. So they just automatically turn off. You can reset the data consumption measurements. So if you want to reset the graph, you can do that. You can set these LED indicators. So that's this small red indicator on the front. If that's too distracting for you, you can switch it on. You can also do the charging protection. So that's what I mentioned right in the beginning. So this is the new feature which wasn't available for the S60. So you can set that if the device that you plugged in consumes less than the set amount of power for a set amount of duration, that is automatically going to switch off. So again, I think this is a very nice, good functions, let's say for battery chargers. The battery charges up, so the charger goes into like a trickle charge state, and then you can let that run for, let's say, 40 minutes, and then it's just going to automatically turn off. And you can configure the thresholds and everything. So that's actually a nice feature. I think it would make sense if they would allow this for the S60 as well. Maybe if there is going to be a newer version of the S60, then this function is going to be available. You can set the Wi-Fi options, you can set the power on settings, and that comes with a delay option. You can do push notifications, and that's also important because in most devices, I don't think that the push notifications are very useful. So with the cost and the consumption, you can set notifications if the device which is plugged into the socket, if it consumes more kilowatt hours or in cost, then it's going to give you a notification. And you can also set the notification on the threshold settings. So if the device turned off because, let's say, the voltage is more than the threshold that we set in the previous screen, you get an additional notification as well. I think these are very useful options. This was available for the S60 as well, and most of the POV products. I'm happy that they have included it here as well. So that's really good. And then we have the Matter supported platform. So that's how you can link into a Matter system, which actually I'm going to set up now. And because that's the end of the settings anyway. So let's just do that. So I'm going to pair it with Google Home, so we are going to see how it works in the Google Home. And in this setup, we will keep the functionality in the eWeLink as well, so you can make any of these changes that I've just shown you, and that those features will apply to Google Home as well, like the inching. If you turn it on in Google Home, and if you set inching, it's going to turn off automatically. So enable the pairing mode. We are presented either with this QR code that we can scan, or we can just copy the code, which I've done. So let's head over to Google Home. And in Google Home, I'm going to click plus and then device and then scan the QR code and then pair with a manual code and then next and then agree. And by the way, you can see that this is blinking now. So it shows like a purple red pattern. And I'm just going to click next on this screen. So it shows, yeah, maybe you can see like a purple red flashing pattern. And now it says generating the meta credential, and it shows some generic picture of a plug, because this is pretty much like a smart plug, but a plug in the wall, integrated into the wall. And I'm going to put it into the, which room I usually put this in. I think I put all my test devices in the study. Next. And Sonoff, I'm going to call it socket. Okay, device is ready. So I just need to find it. And it is here. So you can see Sonoff sockets. It's on at the moment because the fan is working. And I'm just going to double click it, and that's what we have, on and off. Actually, I'm waiting for all the updates for the Google Home and all the Matter enabled app, because if I can remember correctly, in Matter Standard 1.5, all the energy management and power measurement and power consumption measurement, that sort of functionality is now part of the Matter Standard. So we should be able to see all these measurement values also cropping up in Google Home, Apple Home, or Alexa application, which is not available at the moment. So probably it's going to be, done in a separate way, but hopefully it's going to be here. Oops, I just turned this off and the fan stopped. But yeah, that's how it's working. And, it's working fine. And I can see the socket, I can control it from here, and I still have access to it in the eWeLink application if I need to use that. And probably the last thing that I want to show you here, you can see that the device is now turned off. And if I turn it on, it still shows the value from the last reading. I just turn on the fan again. So we should see pretty much the same reading coming up. I noticed that the current and the power is, it takes a couple of seconds for those values to refresh. So keep that in mind, it's not that frequent. But I wanted to show you the scenes. Obviously, it's a socket, we can either turn it on and off, but I think there are going to be some options that we can do in the triggers, and then smart device and PET and this smart switch. So we can create a trigger if the output got turned on and off, either by a scene or manually, or you can create a trigger on automation when the power is either below or above a certain value. This is why I said you can use scenes to create the same functionality as the this charging protection feature, but because it has the delay enabled included as well, I think it's a little bit easier to use that to set up with automations. I think with automation it's going to be a little bit complicated to set it up. It's possible. And you can also set an automation based on the today consumption. So that's similar to the notifications, but here you can actually do something else with another device. And the month consumption, and you can do the same with the cost as well. So quite useful functions, just for the sake of completeness. And then I select on the action side smart device. And yeah, I can turn it either on and off, or I can reverse the current output. So that's sort of what I expected. And that pretty much concludes the review of this Orb or Fusion smart socket, and also the non-smart, let's say dumb version of this socket. If you are interested in this product, as I said, it's already released, it's already available. So there will be affiliated links down in the video description below. But I think that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you in the next video.